So today we're going to be discussing or studying about the three principal aspects of the path. And so I mentioned before, it is important to have a proper motivation at the beginning and a proper dedication at the end of any kind of virtuous activities. And so in this case also, if you set up a proper motivation, the best motivation is to think that may I achieve enlightenment instead of peerless enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. For that reason, I'm going to listen to this teaching. So if you set up this kind of motivation, then that will be a perfect motivation. And so this time, like I said, we're going to be studying the three principal aspects of the path. So this is a great text, a very sacred and a great text by Lama Tsongkhapa, and it's called the three principal aspects of the path. So this is not the name of the text, but actually it's the name of the subject matter. The subject name of the subject matter that is given as the name of the text. And so it's called the three principal aspects of the path, three principles. So what is the principle? And actually it explains the whole path, from the beginning with the guru devotion all the way up, to the unification of the normal path, normal learning, and so, but there are there's the three main things that it explains. The principle that's called the three principles, and as for the path, so those are the renunciation, bodhicitta, and emptiness. So that's what's called the three principles. And so you should be able to say what are the three principal aspects of the path. So those are renunciation, bodhicitta, and emptiness, the correct view, emptiness. And so these three will be gradually explained.
Watching and the Molo is renewed about the Lord and no the dinner super is up, not on what don't just someone the senior to the rest.
And so, because it explains the whole path, from the beginning, like I said, all the beginning, from the Guru devotion all the way up, to the unification of path of normal learning. And so, so the first one, is talking about is the Guru devotion.
Then,
you guys have a text, English text, three principles of path?
Yeah.
Is there one common one, or everybody has one?
You need to find your phone.
There's a link. There's a link to Lama Wisdom Archive.
So it's in the.
It's in the calendar invite.
Oh, in the calendar.
And then go to number. And the chop it over. Take the last one.
Rinpoche's translation.
Now, can't they love here? You need to
I emailed to you.
Oh, yeah, you did? Okay.
Shibai. You have to go like the English you have to go online. The zone people also go online.
Yeah, it's shared online.
Okay.
how do you change it? Get the Lama no la chance laws. Let the get to me, Toma the Lama the chance. Is that done to change your nation is another, or change your nation is so the Lama, the Vayabu Chigoya. I don't know the not just our senior society. Toma the Yungu. Don't you saw? I also did a lot of Roma college show. Lama gave it and tell us in a Yungu. This one's a deal. What the Lama no la chance laws had. Sungayang just said it is.
And so the text starts, with the bow. I bow down to my prophet Guru. And so, the Guru, the Guru is the root of the path. And it says Guru, the root of the path, because all the path, all the realization of the path that one gains later, it all comes from the Guru. So therefore, Guru is the root of the path.
The Lama the catch was the Sanjay Jumde, Korong, Umazoba, Sanjay, the Chetambo, Sudil, Sudil, Korol, Namana, Lava Nujan Negasa, Jadon, Yama Lango Gerechio Sarva, Jadon Yama Lango Gerechio Sara, Gerechio Yoba, Sonza, and it take Kawan division, Junjon Godella, and it take the Kawan division, or Chevale. Say, Janet did they do it in the Takoros, and they do it, then they shows in the Shabales.
And so the Lama or the Guru, is very important. So because all the knowledge that one gains, or the realization one gains, comes from the Guru. And so therefore, even like, Buddha Shakyamuni, after he gained enlightenment, and he looked for his Guru, who taught him the alphabets, like the grammars and poetries. And he searched for him, and then when they found him, then he asked him to come and sit all the way in the front.
So did it. I'm sort of Cherobata, so Sanjay Chode, Sanjay Meduga. Sanjay Meva, the Kara decision, Koro Lama de Kawaya, Ako, Sanjay San, Shijatan Neso de Segal. No Koro Lama de Kawaya, Ako Meduga, Sanjay or Maris and Lamso Cheche.
And then some of the non-Buddhist teachers started to criticize Buddha by saying that he's not really enlightened. If he's enlightened and if he's omniscient, then he should know everything, right? But he doesn't know where his teacher is. So by saying that, and they started to criticize him.
And they show Sumba Chapa to Chamanduga, Chapanduga, Motangan Kangadon, Machi Chibo, and they show last one. Chapa you be taught, Chapa to Chamanduga, and Kangaton, no, doesn't. I thought in the cage of Tata on the came up with you. Cheva Paro, which is Chachi, the Mama is another Tom over chaos. Sure, Tom, the telling what. I don't know modern. Say that Chapa the Chamanduga, but the tell the Chapanduga and the Koran Cheva is.
And then also they, kind of criticized or pointed out, faults on Buddha Shakyamuni by saying that he's not free from the attachments as well. or he's not free from the favorism. Like he's favoring his teacher and asking him to come and sit in the front. So that means like he has attachment to his teacher. So he's not really free from attachment either.
상제 정된 대거 아니 그러고 남아도 제랑에 개에 가와요 하면 거와 말해. 아 거기요 하는데 마음에 대자도서 소속을 남한테 개체보지 말해. 10일 쳐도 아니 남한테 가wan도 된도를 치자야 돼. 마음에 대자도서 남한테 싸치보지 마. 10일 쳐도 대수 말해서.
And it's not that Buddha Shakyamuni doesn't know where his teacher is. It's just to show an example, to the later disciples that it is important, to look for your teacher and to revere your teacher, and that's why he looked for the teacher and then brought him to sit in the front.
그래서 나타네. 내가 내재진을 쇼가야 돼. 신의 뜻을 할 레벨 개체모는 제가 뭐지 너를 전부 뭐지 봐서는 신의 뜻을 뺏어줘야 돼. 내가로서 나한테 자와 신의 때문에 써서 나로서 연애 세야도서 강한 자와한테 라마 들어와래 말해. 내가 이자들은 라마 동문명도야 돼. 주세요 되게 해서.
So this is very important in the Guru devotion. That's why Lama Tsongkhapa mentioned, the importance of the Guru at the beginning of his text, in the middle, and at the end as well. And so, the Guru is the main or the root, of all the attainments, knowledge, and then therefore devoting, to the Guru is very important.
아마 개체모 이미 전세되는 나로서 파마 개체모 순도도 와서 아마 개체모 연마대 가르를 해주시는 노련 뇌도나 안에 가와도 도서 제외와 개체모 있어야 말이야. 연마 개체모 주제 영화 말이었어. 라마 생각에 개체모 연마대 가르를 해주시 천대 말에 세셔만 로사가 망가될 때네. 세셔만의 개체와래. 천대도 세셔만이 다디고 내는 거네. 천대도 세셔만 개체와래. 세셔만 아니 로고 하고 뭐고 내려와 다 라마테가 아니 세셔만 로리도 나와요. 와서 대자 천대는 로리도 라마네 세셔만 로리도 랑게테가 개체와래. 가디체와래 중요해서.
And so the Guru is very kind, to us for teaching us all these paths and giving us all the knowledges. And also, just like we consider our parents are very kind to us. The reason why we think of our parents being very kind to us is because they took care of us, right? They taught us everything: how to sit, how to stand, how to eat, and give all the food, clothing, shelter, and so forth. So therefore, we think of our parents as being very kind to us. But that's the only reason. Other than that, there's no other reason to think why the parents are kind to us. But the Lama is not like that. Lama is not only giving us the knowledge to be a good person in this life, but he's also giving us the advice or the knowledge to be a good in our future lives. And so if we consider which is better, this life or the future life, then future life is more important. Still, this life we already have something, but in the future we don't know where we're going to go, what's going to happen to us. So Lama is the one who shows us the path, to have a better future life. And so therefore Lama, is very kind for giving us all these knowledges, and not only for this life, but also for the future lives.
대성은 세대의 논란도 단일 랑에다 개체보 말에 세셔마텔 개체보에 제외 전체 가는데 세대를 가제 세 가제리나 논자제만도 돼요 말에 논자제 세대는 다 세대조래 어디서는 논란도 랑에다도 세셔마 생겼다는 못하면 말에 셔메셔마는 다 제가 자원이네요 말에 세셔마 생겼다 세셔마지요 대고 셔마티 셔마지네 소도 고알에 맞춰봐도 아니 셔메셔마지네 로가 대선 로다 림보에서 로다 림보에서 되는 논란도 랑에다 가르쳐와래서.
And so the one who teaches how to have a better life in the future is more kinder than someone who teaches for only in this life, because this life is very short. At the most we might live up to 100 years, right? But the next life, future life is infinite, right? There's life after life like that. So there's so many until the end of the cycle extent. We don't know how long we have to go. The road is so long, in the future life. The road in the future life is very long, and so because Lama is the one who teaches us how to be good in all those future lives, and therefore Lama is more kinder than the parents.
And just一把钱的看的就现在很多人都是没得给家庭的人呢，学习的没有的是，这什么很多人都那个妈妈都没感觉嘛，就早年的学托付嘛的，学个嘛的，这一招他们的给钱我一般的对的是。
And then so things about this life, we can even learn from asking from anybody, or many people, can teach us how to live this life. But to have a good life in the future, only Lama can teach us. So therefore, Lama is more important.
Lama de, Lama de Kariwari, Lama Jeta Lama Namla said, Lama Singed Manside, Mamboche Yobi get at it. 起码都没能接受他们来创造了这个人，蒙古就要在接受他们弄了创造了蒙古去，蒙古看的就要的就觉得他的俺都说，路边，刚好啷个的说的，刚好啷个要的，他一个专心的就啷个要的，都是说的说啷么的要的，现在都说要写到给全部的，都说了给家的他俺都是看这个路他，这个要的是。
And then it says. I bow down to my prophet gurus, right? So gurus, this is the plural, right? So that means many gurus. So it's not just one guru, but many gurus. So if it was just one guru, then you can just say prophet guru, right? But here it says prophet gurus. So that shows that there are many gurus. So many gurus are all kinds of gurus. So starting from the one who teaches us the alphabet, and then someone who teaches us how to read, how to write, and all the way, up, to how to do the practice and so forth. So all these are all gurus. So we should respect or revere, to all these gurus.
这时候他Lama的切取大也要嘛的，Lama的切取大也要嘛的，是吧？俺都说忙起来的Lama现在这个，这通过经过的用的Lama教授介绍，说了看用了用的Lama现在的女的，这说到你当的说了啥些这个呀的，是吧？说了看啷个样的，去看了啷个样的，这通过的要啷的，没啷的，完了，看这个的，热水也啷的，熬也啷的。 写不破一样的，毛一样的，说到了的，去啷个的了，人家没叫那么开全部去做个要的是。
And there's no difference, in the guru. So you should see all the gurus, equal. Whether they're so what happens is people only think that somebody who's sitting on the higher throne and giving teaching is a lama, and we should respect to them. But someone who is like sitting next to you on the floor. And who's living with you or eating with you and living with you, you don't consider that as a guru. So that's not correct. So you should not do like that. So whoever has taught you, starting from the alphabet, all the way to how to practice Dharma, should see them as a guru, whether they are sitting on a high throne or whether they are sitting on a low seat, just same as yourself. Or someone who is ordained or not unordained, whether it's male or female, whoever it is, as long as that person has taught you any of these things that that you consider as a guru, and you should see all of them as equal guru.
我都是本身现在这种了，可能上街头全球三宝的下场给有的，可能上街酒店的进步的下场给有的，是吧？可能用别用的下场给有的。 我爸爸接的这个下场没有，下场也在那盲目接要的，要不拿呢，他人家了，这都那么弄了，下场路是那么了下给me就这的，所以我在俺都说我写个要的是，我就在等你的是他。
And so usually, there is a homage, part of the text. Like the homage is paid to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, or just to the Buddha, or to Menjushi, or to Avalokiteshvara, and so forth. But here, it is homage is paid to the gurus. And so that's the way to understand. That shows it is the guru is the main or the root of all the paths.
我为什么个话？这那么可能学校都并不是不要的。 咱那个当老的全部小俺家要的，俺家弄的写个的写年在这里，写这个的点的我觉得容易人吧的，俺们写不怎么说，这个了这说你们忙不了，虽然要这给全部说他这个的， 이다 나도 다티 디서 야마데 다리 모버 체크 야마데 라마 너다나 나로서 다 로서노서 예메 요새 게바데 tombo lama sha cha ke ma de karare no de so lo jung se no to che che no te che go yo res.
So there's a lot, there's this is all I think I will just mention about the Guru, but actually there's a lot, to talk about Guru. So the whole Lamrim, by Lama Tsongkhapa, it has like 500 pages. The half of it is all about Guru devotion, and then half of it is how to train your mind after devoting to Guru. Right? So that's why it is, it's very important, and there's a lot, to talk about, but because of the time strain. And also not because of not having much time, and I just want to mention only this much about the Guru here.
When don't chena, ane knowledge more is logic roba chatsoma tell lojuma chigara. Te mena logic so number so tell lojuma mena maroso on chayala soba. But danju leala soba. Then can you mares and they catch you res and take general chagara catch you is songa is sumares.
And so, if possible, then we should train our mind in all the Lamrim subjects. But if not, then at least to these three principal aspects of the path. So without these, without having trained mind in these three principal aspects of the path, one can't take initiations. One can't do the self initiations and so forth. So therefore, it is the main. This is the main or the principle of the path.
대체 다 되게 최제 대체로 야유스라 그 유니베트 야세 도마나지 마베 람 가데 탄데도 지 용어데 제다 내제 다게 셰바 샤샤 그 셰바 동자데 여러분 뭐 셰바 동자데스 아래 야유스라 그 유니베트에서데 손제 조대는 거 수라 지부 제자 지도라 소바스 공수마 제 유니모데 유니모데데 다다데 년주데에서 야유스라 그 유니베트에서데 년주 자세 도만노지 마베 람사데 자세 소주 상관노지 마바 제사가 람데 아니 창조주 셈데레스 카데 단데노지 용어 데데 카데 타바타반데 바 뜻은 로사가 뭔가 쪼데 아니 돈이도 용답에 따와데레스 데서데 아주 년주의 정세 용답에 따와서레 정말 아니 저다 내저 다게 셰바 차세데 내가 한 레벨 거제 제모레 하다다 유니스마서 요 마서마서 요 말에 제대로 셰거는 내가 셰 도고 말해서 제대로 제대로 뭐 제다 내저는 아로 셰 토세스 셰거를 셰게 있으면 알았어. 이거 캠쇼 말해서 너 캠쇼세. 아또 제대로 뭐 셰 못어야도 요 말에 얘나 마음에 뜻은 가르쳐서 가르이나 하고는 된다면 저게 빼먹을래 가르마. 대자 다다데 되네 내가 뭐 고토고 말해서네. 제가 내저다게 셰바샤 사데 오셰바도 마마소마 생각하고 있어.
And then so that's the expressing the homage or paying homage, and then the next part is the promise to compose, where it says the essential meaning of victorious one's teaching, the path praised by all the victors, all the holy victors and their children, the gateway of the fortunate ones desiring liberation. This I shall try to explain as much as I can. And so the first part, the victorious one's teaching, and so there are like 84,000 hills of doctrines taught by the Buddha, and so the essence of that is the renunciation. This is the essential meaning of the victorious one's teaching. The essential meaning is the renunciation that shows the renunciation, and the path praised by all the holy victors and their children it shows the bodhicitta. And the gateway of the fortunate ones desiring liberation shows the correct view of emptiness. And then the last part, which says, this I shall try to explain as much as I can, has a great significance as well. As he's saying that I shall try to explain as much as I can, because that means that these three subjects, the renunciation, bodhicitta, and emptiness, great view of emptiness, are so vast and so great that it's very difficult to explain. It's very difficult to explain. That's what it's saying. So that because it's very difficult to explain, it's not easy to explain, and therefore it says I shall explain as much as I can. So it's not that Lama Tsongkhapa cannot explain or doesn't know about this thing, but to set example for others in the future. And so someone who might say, "Oh, this is so easy, I can just explain it easy like that." Someone who doesn't know might do that. So therefore, to set an example for those kind of people, and then he said, I shall try to explain as much as I can, which kind of expresses that it's so difficult that I might not be able to explain the whole thing. I will just try to explain it as much as I can.
他这个研究讲些用特别大话说了，那龙就说那么说的啊，罗定这里点把来着，他这些这把的来呢，我来用来着。
And so this is also showing the three principal aspects of the path: the renunciation, bodhicitta, and correct view of emptiness. In short, and then there's the extensive explanation. There's a brief explanation, and then the extensive explanation is coming later, one by one at a time.
俺得想问的，看到西边的了马超些，但就这些全是准备，要我这边咱们那有对面，刚才得到同意有几年下的，那得了年把课完才的，就是说要不是年休息的，那得了年把课完，现在那都他妈的看得起的成果的，就是呢，那种看到西边的了马超些，就我看到可以的话了马超面，他觉得可以的话了马超把些过来是。 对了，看那个，他这就做没有那套把的，太多的嘛，下面写的，这里做嘛去个来是，反正什么在了，当在了，要我这边老了也在嘛是，从这就在这个水面上就说弄把什么在了，也就当把头发，也当把去个来是，这个也当对面个刚才得到个，东方前面个呢，也就年休是那在了年把个女是。
And so then the next verse it says, persuading to listen. So those who are not attached to the pleasure of circling samsara, who strive to make freedom and endowments meaningful, who entrust themselves to the path pleasing the victorious ones, and you fortunate ones listen with the calm mind. And so this is persuading to listen, persuading the listeners who are a worthy vessel for this teaching, so persuading them to listen, to those who are a worthy vessel for this teaching. And says those who are not attached, to the samsaric pleasure, so should not be attached to the samsaric pleasure, and who strives to make the freedom and endowment meaningful, meaning that this prophet Mandrugar, making it meaningful by practicing dharma, and those who entrust themselves to the path pleasing the victorious ones. And so those who show interest or pay attention to this path pleasing to the victorious ones, there's like three principal paths. So those, those are the fortunate ones, and so those fortunate ones, and please listen with calm mind.
俺那边研究上山用特别大话说的，没他没把的，研究没过来说话的。 这当研究个三八的根本就才搞的来，就讲而且那里面这个，那当研究没把先做一，这个专业学位他没了，谁了光把研究了解呢？跟人其实通过研究咋子，通过这个研究的搞的，研究个三八在面呢，考完的做完要嘛来是，研究个三八在面呢，考完的做完的要嘛来，这嘛是真的他说，对的，考完的做完的要嘛来是，这个研究在面呢，谁了光把研究了解弄出来，谁现在当然听着吧，考完了的，考完了，刚把这个考完了敲把的，刚把这个的敲把的，敲把了，考完了，可以的完了，敲把这个了解弄，跟人去了，可以的完了，敲把三把这多这个，考完了用的7个月了也是，这个他起码年，起码这个周围些的，通过研究个三把的照顾了也是。
So these three principal aspects of paths are inevitable for gaining enlightenment, or liberation enlightenment. And so the first one, the verse 3, explains about renunciation. So the purpose of generating renunciation. So without the complete intention, definitely to be free from circling, there is no way to specify attachment, seeking pleasurable effects in the ocean of circling. Also, by craving for cyclic existence, embodied beings are continuously bound. Therefore, at the very beginning, seek renunciation. And so, in order to be free, free from the cyclic existence, one should not be attached, to this circling or to this life, to cyclic existence life. and so without the renounce, so by giving up the attachment, to the cycle existence, one should first, seek or generate the renunciation.
그래서 다 연주생한테 가림한테 하고 거. 연주생에 고알랭이 반주고 거. 고알랭이 반주고 같은 가르를 뒤주는 고알의 정대 절로 시작하. 고알의 내내 매매 로시. 고알의 내는 자원인의 내가 문제스. 고알의 정대 절로 시작하. 절로 시작하는 고알의 예미하고 거. 고알의 내는 예미 요바도 하고 거. 그러봐 고알의 시에서는 안에 당연 동안나서 용거 요바 당 그런데 소소소소 손대다 문제 봤던 아무데 비대도 쳐봐 나도 배전도 뭐야 하고 들어봐 동안 때문에 준에 고와생들 동안 때문에 준에래서데 대 이미 전세들 고와의 시체제들 때문에 다나 제가 나중에 동안도 설이나 요래 고와의 시비 고다 강가도 요래 대노네 좀 가시를 때문에 다나 내가 자주 많이 배 동안 많이 봐 토도 봐배 동안 자세도 잡배 동안 아쿠아는 제대로 누가 나도 제용거 같아. 근데 손은 도거 같아. 근데 그 공부하시는 안에 코안에 전에 저거대 용거고요. 그래서
So in order to have renunciation, so just like it says here, intention definitely, to be free from cyclic existence. And so one has to have that definite intention of wanting to be free from cyclism, not wishing to live in the cyclism, not wishing to stay in cyclism at all. And so in order to have that, in order to not have that thought wanting to stay in cyclism, in order to have that thought wanting to be free from cyclism, you have to understand the drawbacks or the disadvantages of cyclic existence. And so what is the disadvantage or the drawbacks of cyclic existence? Is the samsara. I mean, it's the suffering of this cyclic existence, right? So all kinds of suffering that one has to go through, in cyclic existence. And so all the sufferings, the many different kinds of suffering that are experienced. So there's the suffering of birth, aging, sickness, death that everybody experiences, but on top of that, and there's the suffering of not finding what we are looking for, and the suffering of meeting with the things that we don't want to face or meet with and experience and so forth. So those kind of suffering. So one has to think about all kinds of sufferings, and then one will be able to generate that strong wish of wanting to be free from cyclic existence.
나 내년에 코아체 사례는 내가 때에서는 나사나 매봐 왼쪽 루시아라 소바 퍼서 소바 되게 용거요 그래서 대 용마라 되는 뭐 돈이 내야 말해서 되겠지 말해 템보요 말해 템보요는 되게 쉬는 데가 템보 다운에 요 말해 코아를 실체제는 내가 신 자만이네 요 말해서 내 말은 요 말해서는 다들 저 통제점에 저로서 요다면 말 템보 실체제의 수송아 고관의 민주시가 고관의 대대 정도 사만의 세요 대모요 말에 고관의 지역사들의 대화 사만이네 요 말에서 제대로 현장 문제 그 야동네 나 내가 뒤지 라스모스 야로 제 수소 나 고관시는 대화 말에서 말에 말 15배 뒤스 나서 오다 야죠 고관의 대화 용의 지시고 야주래서 야자이면 tel에 가는 자가 될 수소마 그 제가 당장 대 가르에서 나는 소노이다. 내가 대에서 대여와 레르나 사람에 배정무시라서 봤더니 세다 도고사나 드리고 요제래. 드리다데 시보도 소대마다 되겠지 말아. 좋아. 고안 세체제들 때도 대화 상황이래 말을 듣더니로.
And so sometimes, when we are not sick and when we have all the things that we want, like the wealth, the position, and so forth, then we think this is very happy. We're very happy, but we don't realize that we get attracted, by those kind of happinesses of not being sick or having a little bit of wealth and position and so forth. But we don't understand that this is it's just a temporary. It's for a very short time. So nothing inside existence stays forever, right? So it's very short time, but we don't understand that. So as long as we have that thought, thinking that this is happiness, then we'll not have the wish to be free from that. And so the samsaric happiness is not stable. Is not prominent. It's not stable. it doesn't last for a long time. It's for very, very short time, and it comes to end very quickly. So we don't realize that, and we get attached to that. So there was one incident when His Holiness was giving cultural initiation in Bulgaria, and then he was telling about there's no happiness in like the cyclic existence and so forth. And then there's one foreigner and stood up and said, "No, I'm very happy here." And then His Holiness, just said, "Oh, but at least we found one person who was happy in samsara." Nothing to say about that person. So that was the only answer His Holiness said could give to me. So when His Holiness was explaining, that there's no happiness in samsara, then this person stood up and said, "Yeah, I'm happy." So if there's somebody who's happy, then just leave it that way. And so we might also think that, so when we are not sick, when we have, things that we need, good wealth and the position that we want, so if we have that, then we might think, oh, this is very good, So, but there's nothing that's good, in samsara. So we have to think about that. And so there's no happiness in samsara, So if we don't think that, then there's, we get attached, to this samsaric happiness. So if we get attached, to the samsaric happiness, then that happiness will only, bind us into samsara, tie us into samsara. Will not, give us the opportunity to be free from samsara. So we have to understand that, and then by understanding that first is to seek renunciation. So the samsara, is like the source, of all the sufferings, all kinds of suffering, comes in samsara. As long as we are in samsara, we have to face all these kind of sufferings. So of course, there is the suffering of birth, aging, sickness, death in human beings, and then there's also these sufferings of the three lower realms, which we don't have to go through all of them. but there's intensive suffering in the hell, in the Holy Ghost, and animals. And even if you are born in an upper realm, like the gods or the demigods, there are a lot of sufferings. The gods, they have the suffering of seeing the sign of death, and the demigods, they have the suffering of it's a non-stop combat, with the gods and all the time. And so it is said that the suffering of seeing the sign of death in the gods is like 100 or 1,000 times more than the human being suffering. Human suffering. So when they see the sign of they start to see the sign of death like a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years like before their death, and during that time they go through this intensive sufferings. And so usually they have their own lights on their body, and then the body is clean all the time and fresh flowers, garlands, and all the time. But then when they see this the sign of death, and then the lights will disappear from their body, and the body will become filthy and start to smell. And then the other gods, who usually play with them and come and hang around with them, will not want to come close to them anymore. They go far away, so they become lonely, and so they're kind of suffering. So much suffering they have to go through for a very long period of time, and so we have to actually, if we can, we have to go through all the detailed sufferings of all these realms in psychedelics, in order to have the renunciation.
这从他当时说的研究的详细使用他的大话上的都可以在他然后研究个弄了，但是老的节目弄了他，因为对嘛，有道就对嘛，团队对嘛，没也对嘛，他也对嘛，他们也就对嘛了，说吧，这里就是几把写要的，就是几把写要的，这因为俺们说他的多这个因为他的当他在香港那这个对嘛，都今天就对嘛都，他这就对嘛了，说吧，这里老了啥呢？ 是吧？他바로过这个牛个有吧？这孙子多一能，俺都说研究些多个嘛嘞。另外一呢，人家另外一呢个，这里另外一呢个，可是另外一呢怕大呢，超了大，那就是呢바로过的另外就那话这就是早晚年的说了研究些多个嘛嘞。说这种怕写说呢看的有啥的，真的大过的是，说人家往了写说呢看的有啥的，也到了写说呢看的有啥的，等到了写说呢看的有啥。 这大过，这大概呢，真的在几抓的，研究上把的用头个来是。
So in this text, the Lamrim, where it explains the renunciation, bodhicitta, and great view of emptiness, and at the beginning it talks a lot about all kind of sufferings, right? So there's like the sufferings, the hell realm, how it goes, animals, and then the God realm. So just like we talked about. The gods, the sign of death, seeing the sign of death, and then also the demigods, they have the constant, combating or fighting with the gods. So these kind of sufferings, they all, and we have to go into detail, but this is all we can go for the time that we have. And anyway, these kind of sufferings that we think about, we should not think about other beings like the hell beings there are going through this kind of sufferings, or Holy Ghost are going through this kind of. If we think like that, the suffering on others, we will never be able to generate renunciation. So we have to think that suffering upon ourselves. What would it be like? What would it be like if I were to be born there, and if I were to go through this suffering of the hell, the suffering of Holy Ghost? So you have to think those suffering upon oneself. And then, and generate this strong, I don't want to go through that, so I need to be free from that. Then you comes that thought, if you project only on others, then you will never be able to generate renunciation.
路途前面太大那个研究个什么结完了，俺前地能写动，这前面能写你的多个要的是。
And so, in short, in order to achieve, generate this kind of renunciation, genuine renunciation, one has to overcome the attachment, to this life, and overcome the attachment to the next life.
能写啥的，前地能写到，这前面能写啥的，前地了超不的，这什么了超不的多个要的是。
And so the attachment, to this life and attachment to the future life has to be overcome.
这个都个在单单的， 다조니가 첼라 노메와 일라 고메 첸디 낭셰도 내가 멜로 코에 누마노 양양섬에 셰메 낭셰도 오사데 다다다데 첸디 노셰 도제데 다조니가 첼라 노메와 요네 요도 다조 대체와도 니에 가와도 예 나와라 소바더니 요네 요도 세로 고마시바 티가 아니 첸디가 노셰데 도요 그래서 첸디 낭셰세한테 첸들을 벤조 포조 첸디마도 벤조 포조 소바도 노셰 포조 소바라 소바더니 저들을 내와들 첸디 노셰세요 그래서 대이자 다조니 다조 대체와도 니에 가와도 더니 예 나와라 소바더니你那个这个菜了弄完吧，他那弄些的几个我这样面吧，他那个我们现在的，他那菜这个随便不做了，差不多弄着了，那是。
So then and how to generate such as a freedom and attached endowments are difficult to find, and life has no time to spare. By gaining familiarity with this, attraction to the appearance of this life is reversed. So like I said before, the attraction to the appearance of this life, means like attachment to this life, will be reversed. And so by thinking about the perfect rebirth, how difficult it is to achieve, and how easily it can be lost, and so forth. So if you think about that, then you will be able to give up attachment to this life.
这种单就你个车了弄，单就带车我才，他这就所以没有的车把车的拖出来，调到车模这个了，调到车模考虑的这些呢，真的这样真正的这个，这些没这样经过的那个了，真的，让给这样真正的这头样的，现在这样真正的这头样的，这一张带车啊，他就这就所以没有的车把车拖去了，调到车模一码的这的，是吧？这这个。这些没得到有这头样的，没想到有得到这，中间有这头样，这一个太巧了，这是，我这当个太巧了，这是。你也搞完这个的，他这个当前有时候没有的七八千的，看第一那年个对那都这个样，看第一那年个对那，他的基本的嘛，现在先把它解除个样是吧？这当个真的嘛的是，那基本前年个的，这一张真的你也搞完的是，韩国的人你也搞完了，那。当你搞完的解套的，我解除这个样是吧？解到完的是，我解到完的是，那时候他的去那么多吧，没用完的，那么去看看那个有没有，那么基本上把看的时候，那时候呢，他的去那么多吧去没用完的，但就再切完的，你也搞完的，解到完，马上每个两把的是看懂的都开始。
And so this prophet rebirth, is has a great significance. The great significance is because you can accomplish, everything by depending on this prophet rebirth. So you can accomplish the things for this life, accomplish the things for the future lives, and can accomplish things for oneself, things for others. And so therefore it has a great significance. So because you can great value or great significance because of that, and it is also very difficult to difficult to achieve. And it's if you can achieve it easily many times, and then you can think, okay, I don't have to practice Dharma now. I will achieve it later again. When I achieve later again, then I will do it at that time. You can think like that, but it's not like that. It's like achieving once only. It means like once means like so rare to achieve this kind of prophet rebirth with all these the qualities, and so this prophet rebirth, which has this great significance of value, and if it can last for a long time. And it's easy to achieve like that, then it's, of course, you don't have to worry about it, but, it's not like that, it's so difficult to achieve, yet it's so easily lost. It disintegrates so, easily, or it perishes so easily. And so it's very important to understand that, part, of the prophet rebirth, the great value of the prophet rebirth, and the difficulties to achieve it, and how easily it gets lost, and so forth. So if you don't understand that, then you will not, be able to practice Dharma well. And so many, lamas, the teachers in the past, said that the reason why we are not able to practice our Dharma properly is because of not being able to think of these, the points of the prophet rebirth.
的弄些噻的，看到的就是呢，真的了，才人活动，东西不是做不动啊，年跟年到了说吧，连把这个真的弄些噻个也是，我真的真的弄些的，那大家那个菜了，弄了把这光把这个多几动作要也是。
And and so the attachment to this life, it's like if we have a good life, a long life, good life, and good wealth and so forth, then is this like an attachment to this life. So by thinking about by thinking about how this the prosperities of this life will not last for a long time, by thinking about that, one will give up attachment, and it says the attraction to the appearance of this life is reversed. If we think like that.
这农村的看到的就是呢，真的了，看到的东西不是做罢了说吧，透过上了说吧，学那用，这推对了啊是。这里我看看要电报嘛的是，这电报面把这些东西在动重要的是。
So by thinking, even though if we have good wealth and good position in this life, but it will not be there forever. It will not be. It's not very stable, and it will not be there for a long time. If we think about that, then our attachment to that will be reversed.
这个身体东西的多，他连着我们可以用那个营养方面，前面那些都是，前面那些的，大概的这什么了，那就不是做罢了，做罢的，你不是做罢了，这小娃来罢的，反正大家在东西不是做罢的，他这里那么的，大家在那些个，是吧？东西不是做罢了，做罢这里来把营养用，这也不要嘛，这是这连着我们可以用啊，营养方面动作呀，这看的，连着的没了吧，是吧？来去做些的，真的去那用个嘛的是，这一张真的，这个差不多差的这个嘛的是，我这些个就是。
And then the next verse, by thinking over and over again that actions and their effects are unbetraying, and repeatedly contemplating the miseries of the psychological attraction to appearance of future lives is reversed. So attraction, to the appearance of the future life means again an attachment to the future life. So just like in this life, even if we are able to have a good rebirth in the future, and have a good body and have a good wealth, but that will not, last for a long time. And so it is all because of the karma that we have created. The karma is unbetraying. So that means so whatever karma we have created, we, will have to experience the result of that. And so by thinking about that again and again, and then we will, we will be able to reverse, the attraction into the appearance of the future lives.
这些么的，在到国面可以不做了，有没有经济作用？没些形象的，还有的就是呢，大家那个拆了老面包头，连着我那么光摆都多钱，那你可以不做做把的了，也没，那你就选了做那经济就没些把这个路要的是。
And then next line says, when by having trained in that way, there is no arising even for a second. So it means so by having thought about the difficulties to achieve profit and the great value, how easily it's lost, and so forth. So then, if you think that about that, if you think of that, then that there's no arising, even for a second.
那俺都说了，可以不说真的，真的也没有了吧？他的那个是俺都说看那个，可以不做了，真的也没有了吧？别就不做什么就学了，才是我去学了。我这里是俺都说，这双个月了吧？我这里考完了可以接着嘛，考完了准备谈论这个样嘛的，这么多一张可以不做的了，考完这个这个，对。 可以不做了，不做吧，才给我的，但做出来，做了，等呢，有没是呢？拆了，等你就去那说经济就没些吧，是用个来是，等你用可能因为经济作用没些是，经济没进也这样用没些，这嘛是人都拆个的，他把天气就落的，学了，啊呢，这才研究些话来是，研究什么些为拆的。
So we are like attracted, when we're attracted to the cycle existing, the long life, good wealth, good positions, and so forth. Right? So we're attracted to that. We seek those things. We strive and strive for those things, or to seek those things. And so if we have that, those are the method to bind us inside the cycle existing, not a method to be free from cycle existing. So if we have that, so it says that there's no rising even for a second. So that kind of attraction to the cycle existing, the prosperities, the long life, the good position, and so forth, and even for a second of attraction to the professional cycle existing. And on top of that, not having that attachment or attraction towards the cycle incident, and on top of that, all day and night, the intention seeking liberation arises. So if we have that thought, these are all sufferings. I want to be free from that. I need to be free from that. I need to be free from that. Like that, if you have throughout day and night, then the thought of renunciation has been generated.
Tata ngenju somba tsayate, tata chayate ngenju somba jima mayin bachi chebala, o tanda dekar, koyi buto la yeme keche zonyo manju mache. Yense koda taba tenye jalo mongi sheba che shuna, ane ngenju somba jima mayin bachi sheba resu. Maru so jena ngenju somba jima tezi shegare, dodo na shegare taba tenye jalo do, wale tona so do shegare te, yena yo, yense koda taba tenye jalo te yongu yo marwa. And
so, so when we have this, thought wanting to be free from cycle existence throughout day and night, and by reversing the attachment or attraction, to the cycle existence, or cycle existence, and throughout day and night. And so, when we have that, then that is the genuine renunciation, the real, the spontaneous, the genuine renunciation. Of course, we do have sometimes, cycle existence, there's a lot of suffering in cycle existence. I want to be free from that. I must free myself from that. We have this thought, but it's not there all the time throughout day and night, right? And so, in order to have that genuine or the spontaneous renunciation, we have to have that thought throughout day and night.
Then also, also, one do send conduct letters on the Jew de Gorba. One do say, enemy all knows how the Kartoy on your tele Haku. On shall draw, on knows how the Lame, one no Congress or Sally Tati, on never tell by his Kartoy on the same Haku. Yena young tell Tonga the Jew or Esser. I thought that the Jew was so much, and then the Lozola Soba, Lodilla to not say Gudilla. And then you get the Kilmore, you get the Kilmore. Or there's the chicken as a shabby thought is. Your message is of the only Carico, and then Fernando Susuma, Amamatil. I mean, not Sasa is only, God there was only. Tenguche yo sene taru dene yo sene you must know the nedo chiche de zoga de sone no nede ko de shega de sone ma sa ne tadi zone cheche leche Lama so tele ngo de wa sene tengu che ngeje lo ma nedo tele yongo mo de wa se chobo de susuma de ze ro ma ni chige ne sanmo ne de ngo de yongo mo ro ba no one de da ya to je mo susuma.
So His Holiness, mentioned that, people are very interested, to receive initiations, and when they hear that some Lama is giving initiation, they just run towards that. But when they hear the Lama is giving teaching on three principles of power, or Lama and so forth, then they don't go there so much. So they go to the initiation, and this, then after the Lama has given the initiation, Lama will say, "Oh, now the initiation is well given," and then people think that they have received, but they don't really know what they have received. They have no idea, but they still run for that. They go and they run for that, but they don't go to the teachings, like three principles of power or the Lama and so forth. So His Holiness mentioned that, I think, during the cultural initiation in Amaravati, and he said, so he thought he will trick people, and make them come, to the preliminary teaching. And so then they announced, they announced that there's going to be cultural initiation on this and this day, and then, but first 3 days he thought he would give the preliminary, this kind of general teachings. But he said that people are even more clever. They skipped, they didn't come for the preliminary, they only came for the actual initiation.
대단 다다데 대제 갈래요데 저런서 로주 책이 빼야 보여. 그래서 카 대제요. 갈래 가본도 저는 선이나 갈래 가보래. 너는 갈래 가보래. 대제에서 봐. 로주 마치나 갈래 가본도 저는 되니 카디는 뭐제 그런 갈래 가보라 대제고요. 그러봐. 제가 갈래 가보요. 자테 맨날 깨쳐 쪽에야 아이 대부터는 로가야 아이 뭐시 어제는 소소소소 다시 하고 제가 저로서 지를 로주 챙겨러 봐. 그러봐. 어제 오늘 전에가 최대 로주 제한테 세상 야보래 제가 당한도 주와이 자 팀에 저로서 하고 있는 거래. 주생에서 요는 소소소소 야로는 라와자사지 요래. 주면은 라와자사 쳐고면 돼. 주시 요는 라와자사지 요래. 다들 넘어서 도와줘. 나한테 제소다. 가서 폴리스가 누가 폴리스들이 하나 개체자 제일 가시고 멜로자라이나 가레이나 쏟아서 내가 될 제가 누가 지 라와자사지 제가 누가 라와자사지 제가 누가 다시노래도 되니 저 라와자사지 그거하러 와야 돼 폴리스를 라와자사지 제가 누가 도송 누가 근데 너 거기서 추와이나 추체가 이나 뭐지 야 통제 제목 쓰와래 추케 말에나 시가 가면 지 라와자사지 제가 누가 오늘 저 같아 나로서 죄와래. 나로서 죄와야 내 저로서는데 오늘 전에 한 레벨 버려. 오늘도 다체. 소소 라와자사스 거아. 라와자사스 매는데 초코야 말어. 소소소 러시자자야라서 봐도 각해야 말. 라와자사 책을 매야 봐. 라와자사 소소도 두고시 주나요. 라와자사스 그쪽으로 소화다사스 누가. 근데 다사 제면은 깨도네 러시자자 오늘 책을 주자마도 라와자사 매야 봐. 유튜브 계세요 봐. 그 나로서 강요도 제가 레와자사한테 초도 쳐봐래. 오늘 전에다 레와자사한테 초도 쳐봐래. 저로서 이나 시장과 저로서 빼면서 봐야 보래. 그래서 로저 제거래라 로저 제거래서 다다 갈래 가보요는 레라르나 로그래. 레라르나 로그와 자세 저와래 고만 나와 메저 응유대 공유야 뭐 있어요. 고만 제거에는 다다 가서 고만 매서 쳐봐야 돼요. 그러와. 만족라에 도모 잡아도 다들 너네 거로 싸웠다더니 맛이야 더거든. 도모한테 요 말로 나 저로서도 집어치줘라 봐. 저로서도 집어치줘래. 제 그런 더 못해서 안 그래 아마도 대다도 세다로 봐. 이 고마 제대에 다들 너도 너도
So, of course, the practicing Dharma or learning Dharma is not, easy. It doesn't come, the interest for that doesn't come easy like that, just like other things, So, but it is difficult. But even if it's difficult, you should, do it. If you say, oh, it's difficult, and you will do it later, then it will become a bit more difficult later, right? So you have to do whatever you can, to study and to practice. And so, so look for all the means, to understand, to study, to understand, either by asking somebody or by reading, a book. Or doing all kind of using all kind of methods to understand, to learn and to practice. So because if you have a dharma, then there's something that you can rely on or hope for, right? At the time when it's needed. Just like so somebody who when there's something important in the events, and people pray for that, right? Pray to like the football, the World Cup. People will pray for that, right? And so they have this the belief of the Dharma or belief that they rely on. So they pray and they rely on that. And so it's for the Dharma practitioner, it's even more important, right? So something that we can rely on. On the teachings, so that's very important. Although if there's nothing, to that rely on, then there's nothing you can do. Then just give up or like commit suicide. At the end, that's what's going to happen. But anyway, so if we work hard, then we can learn. Then once we learn, then it becomes easier, right? So there's just like Shantideva said, there isn't anything that doesn't become easier with familiarity. So if you become more and more familiar with that, then it becomes easier. So like Rinpoche was saying that he was just like us, others, very difficult, to understand. But because he became familiar, with these texts, now you can just explain by reading the root text. And so there isn't anything that doesn't become easier with familiarity. So, but to make it familiar, you have to work hard, and again and again, study and read, and then it will become familiar, and then it will become easier. So we'll stop here for today. So we're done with the renunciation part, so we'll stop here. I think there's Geshe requested for the three principles of the teaching. The three principles, the renunciation, bodhicitta, and emptiness, right? I don't think he meant one day for each, right? So whenever you finish it, just stop it there, right? It doesn't have to be like, speak about the renunciation for the whole day, and then the next day speak about bodhicitta only, and the next day speak about emptiness only. It's not like that, right? So whenever it's finished, you can just stop there, right?
Yeah.
So tell how I'm going to you call Kankan CSL. There's a Tayatineo, Tawatoya. Kati and him, Martunisha, Matawache, Chorozo, Tawaton, Chorozo, name you call Kankara Sesso, send in no shit to Karacheto, send in no shit in the Karala, so say, alternative, just cigarettes, that's what over. Simply Abonas.
So then you might be asked a question, right, about the renunciation, so how do you reverse, the attachment to this life, or how do you reverse the attachment, to the next life? So this kind of things, this kind of questions might be asked to you. So, it's not like only Rinpoche who's explaining, right? You might have to explain. So you keep that in your mind. So if somebody were to ask you, then you can explain to them.
Yeah, to Chetati.
Okay, so that's it for today. Okay, so let's do the dedication. Sorry, so the manda offering. So yeah, page 39, Thanksgiving manda offering. Dedication. Page 57. Through this virtue may I safety and in Buddha say, exist and every sentient beings without exception in that state, precious supreme body mind, may it well unborn arise, and when born never decline, but increase forevermore.
Thank you everyone. Tomorrow and after tomorrow, two more days. Let's remember Rinpoche's word caution you for the teaching. Everyone remember, okay? This is a homework. Because the teaching is very serious, Essence with the teaching, the teachers are not explain, the full knowledge person. Therefore you can get maybe Friday also you take some questions. Bring the very serious question, not just simple. Okay? Serious, very, very serious question.
这就
지지나 산일 보시고 저한테 지지나 산일 계획 지나서 저한테 그래. 데리고 걸 저한테 소소 상하고 야셔. 아니 그 나중에 없지 쇼시. 아니 그래서 너한테 빼 내가 침보래. 일단 산지게 추 니볼로 잡으래. 근데 계획은 다 쇼가 말해. 일단 계획 보세요. 쇼 말해. 제가 안에 산 아빠 부부라 아니 부부라는 게 뭐지 지금 좋아 내가래 우리 티저는 좋아 잡고요 따로 치래
以前读的都是身体那些搞的，这些面那些搞的，这都这个大的搞的，是吧？哎，他们懂的。
So Rinpoche said, he will give you very simple questions. What is the attraction to this life? What is the attraction to future lives? And what is the method to reverse them? That's all. So you just think about it, now and study about it, and so then, day after tomorrow, when Rinpoche asks, and you'll be ready to answer them.